Hey, everybody, you need to forget the catch. No, the catch was cool last night. It is cool. But forget the catch for just a little bit. The catch by the Jets, Garrett Wilson. You can rank that, do whatever you want. Everybody's doing it today, and that's fine, but not for right now. There's something more pressing. Not right now. Forget that the Jets do, in a twisted, weird way, have playoff hopes. They had 32. Aaron Rodgers had 32 yards passing in the first half. It was over. It was shut the door, figure out who leaves when he leaves. That thing is an absolute dumpster fire at halftime. They're getting booed off the field. They're getting booed practically every snap in New York. The crowd, I love this part, the crowd was even chanting, "Sell the team." That's a new one. Sell the team. And yeah, I thought, man, what is going to happen tomorrow? Like, who all is going to be gone? You got to clear that place out. 32 yards passing in the first half. It was not a big ask for the Texans to win that game, right? There was not a whole lot that needed to be done. It's hard to see football played any worse offensively than what the Jets were doing in the first half against the Texans. The Texans got beat 21-13. There's an issue. It's an issue we didn't see coming. And it might be lost in Garrett Wilson's ridiculous catch. It might be lost in a lot of his catches. It might be lost in the fact that Aaron Rodgers played a pretty good quarter and a half in the second half. The bigger issue is the Texans are really bad on offense, and it's a problem. Not bad just last night that cost him a game 21-13. They had 13. That's not an outlier. That's the problem. What you saw from the Texans last night is not an outlier. It's the norm. We now have a body of work with the Texans, who I think a lot of us, and I don't know where you have them right now. I don't know where you put the Texans right now in the AFC. What do you think? I've believed from day one up until even last night when it's kind of an ugly version of football. I'm believing that's the fourth best team in the AFC. I'm believing at worst it's the fifth best team in the AFC. Can you really do you think that now? And if you do, wait until I give you the data on how bad things are offensively. And that's, if you're going to have problems, I mean, it's one of the better problems to have, except your quarterback's going to get hurt. And he did last night. So here's the deal with the Texans. 13 last night is not an outlier. The Texans had one breakout game this season. They had 41 points against the terrible New England Patriots. Bowie High School scores on the Patriots. The point totals, other than that, would go 19, 7, 24, 23, 22, 23, and 13. There you go. I think you now know exactly what they are on offense. It cost them a game. Their bad offense cost them a game last night. It did. You got to score more than 13. These are games to be taken, and they're games to be taken because their defense is that good. So it's entirely possible now, and you can't help but think this could cost them more. They gave up 8 sacks last night. C.J. Stroud is now, I believe, number 1 or 2 in the NFL in quarterback pressures. He's getting hit a lot. Is it time to panic? I'm only going to say probably not panic. I guess not, but I think concerned is no. Red siren kind of thing is probably justified here. You don't have to panic because they're so good on defense. When you suck on defense is when you're going to lose several games. Good defense, really good defense, and they're that. Keeps you in a lot of games. So that's why, they're not getting run off the field except every now and then. But, this is now bad enough that it costs them. Their bad offense is going to cost them some more games. And it doesn't look like it can get fixed. That's what should worry you. Be concerned by something even more dangerous. And that is not just that they're bad on offense, not just that they don't score, but at the end of the half against the Jets. Remember, there are dead man walking. I mean, if you've ever seen a collective organization, I'm not talking about a quarterback, I'm not talking about a wide receiver. Have you ever seen an organization that was absolutely dead man walking, that at halftime, it's entirely possible they just sell the whole thing, that Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back out, that they just say, mail it in, man, it's over. That's where they are. I mean, they had no rhyme or reason to be in a game. Remember, they only scored 21 at home, which is fairly typical of the Jets. But the problem here is the Texans, and the problem is that C.J. Stroud was laying face down on the ground at the end of the half. He limped off. He limped around. He got sacked 8 times, and this is an ongoing issue. This is happening all the time, and this is a young guy who can move. This is not Aaron Rodgers standing there who can't move around anymore. This is a great young player who's athletic, and he's getting hit constantly. He's under pressure as much as any quarterback in the league. Keeping him healthy is getting tougher and tougher and tougher. It is, and you can see it. You can't play. It's amazing that he's lasted this long. You can't keep playing like this and expect to keep him on the field. It's going to end badly. That's where this is going. You see it. The organization knows it. It's not real complicated football. But here's the problem that the Texans face that's going to get a little nerdy. The problem has to be fixed. You can't really play call your way out of not being able to block. The game, no matter how hard how people try to make it difficult and complicated, it really is about blocking and tackling. And that's what it's about. And they can't block. They can't block at all. So fixing your offensive line is not the same kind of problem as fixing other positions. You can add a receiver. You can find people that can catch. You can even find people that can cover. You can find a defensive back. You can find skill people in professional football. Now, they're not all going to be, Garrett Wilson or something, but you can find players that can get you by. When you can't block at all, you're on borrowed time. Other than quarterback, the most intricate and complicated position in the game is offensive line. And somehow, some way, the Texans just suck in the offensive line. Laremy Tunsil, who's been in multiple Pro Bowls, he's now the most penalized player in the entire league. Like, that's something you expect for Carolina. The Texans check off every box except offensive line play. And that is, it might be the outside, I would always tell you that as long as you can play good defense, you've got a chance, which is where they are. That's why it's a 6-win team, because they play really good defense. And they'll keep that up unless they get some guys hurt. But other than that, the most dangerous thing going is to be terrible in the offensive line. And when you're terrible in the offensive line, it's not a concern. It's not, we could patch that up kind of thing. Obviously, they can't. When you're terrible in the offensive line, it is not just a red flag. It is a bright red, loud siren. And tell me, knowing what you know about the scoring, knowing what you know about how often he's hit, knowing what you know about how few points they score, try to make an argument now that that's the 4th best team in the AFC.